Good evening, mic testing. Am I visible and audible?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay, thank you. Welcome to this revision. Let's call it a crash course for the UGC NET re-exam, which is going to be conducted on the 9th of September 2026 in the first shift, I believe. We are supposed to be joined by 30 odd people, but I will comment on certain things as I go along. Most of you already know me. In fact, I think everyone here already knows me. In case you don't, I am Aritra Basu. I work as an assistant professor of English at Ronald University Center for Distance and Online Education for the last 5-ish years. I'm also about to finish my PhD from the Department of Comparative Indian Language and Literature, University of Calcutta, and I have been teaching NET for roughly 5 years. Right. Many of you have already taken NET classes from me and are here as what I generally call as repeat customers, but since these classes are free, I will call you discount. So, did you know the word discount has the word count in it because people who want discounts are bad at math. For those of you who are here for the first time or are doing my classes for the first time, you will be let's say unintentionally subjected to a lot of jokes. I hope you are okay with it. Since there are some candidates who might not understand Bengali, I'll keep the language of instruction for these classes exclusively to English. Today will be more of a preparatory class, and I have divided these classes into 2 parts, and these classes are also recorded and they will be uploaded on YouTube 1 or 2 days after the classes are over. So in case you miss it, nothing to worry about, you will get it on YouTube. So these entire classes this class is being recorded, so and it will be published on my YouTube channel since these classes are free. So, and I intend to reach as many people as I can, though I expected more people to come in, but nonetheless. So yes, as I was telling you, I have divided these classes into 2 parts, and I believe both parts are equally important. The first part I called motivation, and the second part I called technique. So, and I believe you need the former more than the latter. So I am going to try my best to give you all the motivation you need because I am almost 100% sure that you are in need of it. And since you have already sat down for the exam a couple of months back, you already know something about the exam. You are not novices. You have attempted the exam once. You have taken preparation in some form or the other. So that's why I will also talk about the technique and things that you need to keep in mind in the subsequent classes. But today's class will be mostly about motivation, and also it will be about clearing out your doubts about the re-examination, which is going to be conducted on the 9th. There are many doubts, some of which I'll clear out right at the beginning because they are, as we commonly call them, FAQs. Which if you pronounce will sound similar to a word which resembles the activity which NTA has performed with us. So, oh please, Shondip Maheshwari wishes that you were me. Right, yeah. So first things first, let's clear some doubts. People who had not registered for the previous exam, that is the one in June, they cannot sit for this one. Right, this is the question that I have been asked the most number of times, which somehow indicates that even in today's dying age, people are still somehow interested to reapply for this exam. Anushka, I'm taking your question in a moment. The second thing is whether you can change your center. Some of you may have shifted your cities, or you may have moved, or whatever it may have happened. So this we are not sure yet. NTA has not given us any clarity, because just like Delhi during winter, it is full of pollution. So we are not sure yet, but let's go ahead with the assumption that it will not do anything in our favor. So let's assume that it will not allow us to change our city preferences, and it will give us admit cards based on the city preferences that we had for our June exams. This is the second common question that I have been facing. The third common question is that I have been facing is that I have registered for the previous exam, but I was for some reason not able to give that exam. Will I be able to give this one? The answer to this, fortunately, is yes. If you have not attempted the last exam but you did register for it, to put it in simpler terms, if you have paid them, then they are going to give you the service. If you have not attempted the paper last time but you can do this time, you are capable, or you are eligible to do that. These are the three most common questions which I found. Other questions that you have, I will take them up now. Yes, I will begin with Anushka.
Hello, sir. It's good to be back. So you have addressed the question that I was about to ask. That I did actually download my admit card as well, but I did not sit with the examination because my semesters were approaching as well. Other than this, I have another query. That is, when we usually started preparing, in general terms, we start with PYQs. So in this case, do we disregard the 2026 PYQ or only, or the other ones as well? Because the main question or the main concern that was raised was because of the repetition of questions. So should we discard the PYQs altogether for both the papers or not? Could I explain myself?
It's a little offhanded, but it's a good question. First things first, any exam which is supposed to be a national level exam should ideally never have repeat questions, right? And now I'm talking about the should of it, right? What should ideally happen. Now, since we are light years from it, so I would not disregard PYQs altogether. You can have 5-6 PYQs repeated, but I think they might be a little smarter this time. They might change the wording, the phrasing, but the essential information that they are going to ask from you can remain the same for a few questions, which has happened more or less every time, right? So, but I am hoping that it won't happen to the extent that it happened during the June exam, which was I did not get the question paper because they did not release the answer key, but someone told me it was around 26 to 28 questions from June 2024's paper. From one paper itself, they copied around 25-26 questions. Even I put more effort in my question making than this. So and those of you who are here for the first time, you are going to get 2 mock tests of 50 questions each. But unfortunately, those who are here repeatedly, as discount, you will have already faced these questions because I don't have time to create new questions. My schedule is extremely packed. I'm supposed to submit my PhD in December. I won't have time to submit make new questions, but I will give you access to a lot of material that you can find useful. Right. So yes, other questions that you may have.
Yeah, sir, am I audible?
Yes.
Sir, we have seen a trend basically when we used to sit for this examination that a large amount of questions were coming from the literary theory and literary criticism part. So my question is, though it is not possible to guess, but can we guess that the same pattern would be repeated or they would change it totally?
See, it's a good question. Let me answer it in a way that everyone will be able to understand. When NET exams are conducted in the regular schedule, that is in June and December, then the examiners have 6 months to prepare for questions, right? Examiners, the ones who are setting the papers, they have 6 months to prepare the questions. They get more, but they have 6 months roughly, right? And in that 6 months, they have messed up the question paper to this extent. Now they have less than 3 weeks to make the question again, unless they have been informed beforehand. Even if they had been informed right after the date of examination, which was 23rd June, even then they have 2.5 months at best, right? So one can assume that the standard of question will be a little easier, right? But if it is more difficult, please don't come blaming me, right? Quick questions can be of two types, right? Those of you here who were in my NET batch and have done MCQ homework, you know this. Quickly made questions are of two types. One is an easy question, right? Which shop did Othello buy his handkerchief from? Example. Everyone knows the answer. This is not a real question, but who knows? You can be asked. This is an easy question, right? Quick question. A question which can be formed in a moment. Another type of question is a difficult question. For example, we were once asked, how many times does the word yes occur in the chapter called Penelope of Ulysses? This is an actual question which appeared in an actual set exam. Right. And the options were 1 or 2 digits apart. So even if they have a borderline guess, so yeah, these are two types of quick questions that you can form. If I have to guess, and my students have always blamed me that I am very good at guessing. If I have to guess, then I would guess that it would be on the easier side. Why do I say so? Because easy questions raise lesser number of objections. Right? If you see the question paper and you see that I already know 45 out of 100 questions in the paper 2 exam, right? By the way, these classes will be primarily for paper 2, because paper 1 there is really nothing to do with revision. Everyone already knows what to do. Unless there is a significant number of you who want me to do a dedicated class on paper 1, I'll try to keep this only for paper 2. Right. I'll also do a quick poll in the group, since there are 30 odd people there, as to who wants what. So if you already know 45 out of the 100 questions, if you will come out of the exam hall more content. You will come out of the exam hall feeling happier, not realizing that someone has played a fool out of you. Those of you who have seriously prepared for NET, for example, Odjija, you know that if you have prepared properly, then you want a hard paper, right? If you have prepared well, then you want a difficult paper, because difficult papers can only be solved by sincere candidates. But if the paper is easy, the cutoff will go high, and that means more and more people who are in that, border between great and good, they will fall below the cutoff. Understand this very clearly. Those who fall within that gap of great and good, if the paper comes difficult, then they land above the cutoff. If the paper comes easy, then they land below the cutoff. Right? This I know for sure. I have had more than 300 NET students in the past 5 years. So I know this for sure, that if the paper comes difficult, you who have prepared well, you will be at an advantage. If the paper comes easy, you who have prepared well will be at a disadvantage. Right? So, and it has been long since a paper was set which was of the standard format, that is neither too difficult nor too easy. The last paper, December 2025, I believe, was one of them, when the paper was of standard merit. Now, coming to the motivational part, many of you are wondering how you will prepare yourself in these 12, let's call it around 20 days from today, right? I will give you a strategy of what you can do and what you should do. The first thing that you should do is eliminate the concept of it being a retest. If you can do this, which is easier said than done, of course, you will be ahead of 90% of applicants. Understand this very clearly. If you can take the retest element out of the retest, you will be ahead of 90% of applicants. Now, why do I say this? See, when such a retest is scheduled, if you are in higher academics for long, you will know that it means an automatic 25 to 30% drop in appearance rate. Right? If you reschedule an exam after it is conducted, automatically 25 to 30% of the people will not appear for the retest. But that won't help you, because the number of people who pass the exam is determined based on the percentage of people who are appearing, not the number of people who have registered. 6% of people who are appearing pass in category B and 1% of people pass in category A. Category C, I think, is around 10%, not 10, 8% maybe, I don't remember the exact figure, somewhere around that. So, but it will make things easier because there will be lesser people. Another thing is that it is obvious that you will be under a lot of stress. Stress which will make you feel like you are wasting your time, you are wasting your potential, you are wasting the good years of your life attempting something that in the long term will turn out to be futile. Now, it is very normal to feel this. It is, I would go to the extent of saying that this is acceptable. But if you can somehow convince yourself till the 9th that you have to work towards this, then again you will be ahead of 90% of the applicants. The reason I say this is because whereas 25 to 30% of people don't appear for the retest, the remaining 75%, if we consider that as 100 whole, out of that 100 people, 85 people don't appear for it with the same zest, same zeal and same effort that they did for the actual test. And they have their good reasons to do so. First is, of course, the reduced amount of time. But for a test like NET, this is not 100% true. Why? Because the amount of effort you had put till 22nd June has not gone into waste. Right? It is not that long ago. You had studied for it, you had put your precious hours into it, and trust me when I say this, your brain remembers at least 70 to 80% of it. You just need to find the right strategy in order to recollect those memories and structure those memories in a format so that when you are required to recollect something that you had read for the June exam but you could not manage to do it for this exam, you are still able to recollect that. This is a memory trick that we are going to learn. The first thing that I would suggest is that if you have written notes, for example, I know Kritika has written notes, right? She has kilo written notes. Now, if you have written notes, then you are already sorted. You just need to read them. If you don't have written notes, my suggestion would be to make written notes. In this 20 days, if you study 4 hours a day for 20 days, that's 80 hours. Out of these 80 hours, I would suggest you spend at least 50 for paper 2, and out of those 50 hours of paper 2, you spend at least 30 or 35 making written notes. What this will do is, you cannot forget that this will not be the last attempt for most of you. Most of you are going to appear again for December. In fact, I think all of you will appear for December, because what they will do is, they will release the form first and they will release the result later. It is my prediction. I would be happy to be proved wrong. But it has rarely happened that I have predicted something which is ominous and it has not come true, which is why I stay away from ominous predictions. I had a hunch that this exam will be cancelled around the last week of July, but I did not say a word to anyone, because then people would literally chase me with broomsticks. Because when June 2024's exam happened in the OMR format, I was one of the applicants in that exam. I came back and seeing the stance of the invigilators, I told to one of my students who was seated in the same room as me, এই পরীক্ষা তো শিওর বাতিল হচ্ছে, আজকের পরীক্ষা বাতিল হবেই হবে. Tamalika was the name of that student who sat in the same room as me. I told her, guaranteed, that this exam is going to be cancelled. And guess what? It was cancelled. Rescheduled. Sorry. Pardon my French. I should use the word rescheduled. So this time also I had a similar hunch, but I kept it to myself. I did say it to one or two people who did get JRF already, because they have no stake, so they won't chase me with a broomstick. But to all applicants, I did not say anything. Many of them came back and told me that previous year's questions were repeated, and I said, let's hope for the best, and things we say. But yeah. Now, coming to the motivational part, how you will pull yourself together. I will give you a 3-point strategy. First point of strategy is recognizing your position of privilege. Point 1 is recognizing your position of privilege. Now, this is a stupid point, right? It is a very stupid point because it has nothing to do with your preparation. But what I am trying to do is, in these classes, I am trying to temporarily mold your psychology in such a manner so that you can push yourself to prepare once again for the retest that is going to be conducted on the 9th. Right? So first point is acknowledging your position of privilege. In that, you will understand that you are in a unique position where you can consider giving the exam again. First of all, I have said this countless times on public platforms, and I have been quoted to say this in newspapers. NET is the easiest national level exam conducted in India. I have said this repeatedly. And the only reason that is true is because it has no negative. If it had negative, then it would be like any other exam. I don't know of any other exam which has such significance which does not have negative. No other exam, again I repeat, which has such significance in its market. In the academic market, NET is like your golden ticket. You buy it, you get to see Avengers Doomsday first day first show in 3D. Now the thing is,
That is the easiest exam, national level.
yes, NET is the easiest national level exam to exist. That means it is also the exam which has the lowest applicant to job ratio, clearance to job ratio. Right? Most national level exams, except I would say JEE, NEET and things like that, are directly connected to a recruitment. That is, you pass the exam and then you have to appear for interviews, and then you may land a job someday as a clock hour basis assistant professor in a college where you get paid 15,000 rupees a month. Even then, every cycle for English alone, there are on an average 90,000 applicants. How many? 90,000. Only for English, which is one of the highest. I think only falling short of history and pol science. Now, that means that there is a market for this. What you have to do is you have to realize that you are pursuing a master's degree or have finished one. You want to step into the domain of academics where everyone knows getting a job, not the job of your dreams, just getting a job that pays anything except Sodexo coupons, is extremely difficult. And even then you have chosen this. That means you already are coming from a position of privilege where you are not required to start earning at the drop of a hat. Abhinandita is asking, are you sure this is the motivation part? I don't know. Did it go too deep into the reality check? The second part is, even if you do really well in this exam and you get a JRF, there is a very little chance that anything will change in your life. Once again, I am moving from motivation into dark truths. But yes, if you manage to get a PhD after you get a JRF, you will get a decent amount of money for 5 years. Many people may call it less, but given the generic standard of academia, I would say it's very decent. Right, 37,000 is no matter of joke. But yes, you do get 2 additional points for JRF in your API. And the final part is that you have taken the first step towards preparing yourself for the retest, which is by joining this course. Right. I am not saying that this is a miracle type solution. In fact, I am sure better people are offering better guidance profile systems out there. But due to some reason, you people have chosen this course. Most of you have chosen this because you know me. Others who are here for the first time, God knows why you are here. But anyway, but because you've joined this course, that means that you're taking the retest seriously, which makes you a solid candidate, right? So this is the part which you should feel good about, that I am out there, I am trying to do something, and I have taken the first step towards it. So that's something that you should be happy about. Coming to the classes themselves, what I'll do is I'll give you tests. One class I will do on expected topics which can be of importance in this exam, in the retest. I'll do the next class on that. I'll take up 6 topics of 10 minutes each, and I'll quickly go through what areas we can do for those 6 topics for paper 2. And if most of you decide that a paper 1 class is needed, then I'll do one of them. And once again, I am opening up suggestions and feedback, comments about what we can do in these 4 classes from you people, because you are my target audience, and I would like to serve you to the best of my capabilities and to the best of your requirements. So if you tell me your requirements, then it will help me curate the classes in a better way. And most of you already have done my courses for NET, and I'll also share the reading material with you on the class WhatsApp group in the group description. For those of you who don't have access to it, it has always been free since day 1. I'll share the link in the group, and I'll share a list of books that you can read for paper 2. Those who have been my students, they already have this, and those who are here for the first time, they will maybe they can start. And yes, I am once again inviting you to give me some responses and comments and feedback, suggestions, whatever it may be.
In paper 1, for the exam that was conducted, there were a lot of questions that I was not sure of. Teaching aptitude, especially Indian something. So how to approach those topics?
Indian logic, yes. Indian logic, see, in the Pearson book, you have some portions of Indian logic. You can read that. Another thing that you can do is, you can try, I was just about to say this, for paper 1, you can almost guaranteedly expect 2 to 3 questions on Indian knowledge systems, right? Now the question is, what is an Indian knowledge system? And the answer is, who knows? I have a PDF for Indian channel, not Indian channel, Indian knowledge system. I will share it with you in the group. It is a PPT, but I think it will be helpful. Indian knowledge system actually posits itself as the ancient answer to every what, why, when, how and where question of the universe. You know, right, that there are 5 fundamental questions: what, why, how, when and where. Every good question starts with these 5 words. And IKS is a policy which tries to answer every possible question that starts with this permutation and combination. Actually, once again I'm saying it has actually a lot of merit. So if you read the PDF, you will understand it has a lot of merit, and it as some people are doing good work on it. Then once again I would say that in paper 2 you should think about a little bit of interdisciplinary approach here and there, like a little bit of translation, a little bit of comparative literature, a little bit of linguistics. Questions have been coming from these areas for the last few cycles. You should focus on them a little bit here and there, like seasoning on your food. So you should try them. And another thing that I would suggest is to get your basics right. Right. This is a suggestion that I often find useful. What do I mean by getting your basics right? I'll show you a document. This is a document which has the important dates in the history of English literature in terms of year, not month, day, time stamp. It does not have. It's Onusha should recognize this very promptly. She was the one who typed this very graciously from my ridiculous handwriting. I will also share this as a PDF. I'll send this one as well in the group. You read this, you get this into your system. This document actually is a very useful one because it will set the course of history of English literature right for those of you who are missing out on this. And if you read this and if you what we call in Bengali attostho this, then you will find the tasks of attempting the chronology questions easier. And those who have done their net courses from me, they already have access to the chronology Excel sheet, which unfortunately I cannot share in this free class. That's something that you should, those of you who have already done your classes from me, you should all definitely go back to the Excel sheets and check them out, reread them, and see what you have missed in those sheets, right? That's something that I think you should definitely think of doing. Right. Okay. So any questions? Or any suggestions as to what we can do in the upcoming classes?
Yeah, so I want a bit of clarity on the part of chronology. Mainly, the way I prepared this, I created a hook. Okay. I mean, hook means there may be a very common work, and then I'm taking that work and I'm just lining in other works after it. But the problem occurs when they are asking chronology questions from different literary traditions. I mean, they are putting a book from Indian English literature or Indian writing in English mainly. Then they are asking a question or a book or like mentioning a book from British English periods. Then they are asking a book from, I don't know, maybe from the Mughal period. I mean, how can we tackle this? I mean, is it possible to even tackle?
Okay, this is the first time that I'm hearing about such a thing for starters. And second thing, if you are being asked a question of this dimension, then I think it should be tackled with less of an informational approach and more of a commonsensical approach, right? Say for example, if you are saying that if one text is from the Mughal period, as you say, then it's a no-brainer, right, that it will come at first. Most European texts are after that. If it's an Indian text in Sanskrit, once again there is a high chance that it's very old. If it's an Indian book in English, cannot be older than 1757. In fact, it cannot be older than 1812. Right, or something around that. So these I call them anchors. These anchors will help you situate which book can be where, and the order in which the options will be placed will also give a lot away. It's something that we learn in my course called answering techniques, where I teach things like how to understand the psychology of the paper setter, right? But of course we don't have that much time for this course in this particular class. In fact, I can try to shed some light on that in one of the classes, but it won't be totally holistic, because it requires several classes and thorough preparation and multiple ways to look at it and lengthier course duration and things like that, but I'll try my best to give that in this course as in whichever proportion is possible for the course that we're doing right now. Okay.
Thank you so much.
Anyone else? All right then, I think I'll call it a day for today. We will meet again next Tuesday at 9:30 when we will begin with the 6 important topics. If the paper pattern changes from objective to subjective, then nobody will be happier than me. I have been saying this since 2018, since I started attempting the paper. And if you ask me, it should be. Whether it will be or not, since changing the format from objective into subjective requires more effort, time, and will actually end up selecting more appropriate people, I don't think they will change the pattern because they don't want appropriate people. But if it changes, then I'll be very happy, because it will give me new zeal to rethink of conducting my NET classes again from 2027, which as of now I have no plans. My present batch is going to be the last so far because of several reasons. But anyway, if it changes, then I'll be very happy and I'll take it up again.